all squared here. So this has been a long time coming. I've had several people ask me, when is the Q&A coming? When is the live coming? And it's finally here. So, sorry, I'm trying to get my comments pulled up here. I just kept putting this off because I don't really know why. It was just, I was waiting for a good amount of questions to come through, and then I would kind of forget about it and be like, I don't feel prepared for that. But it's here. I'm finally prepared, I think. I was feeling like I still didn't have that many questions, but as I was going through kind of answering them in my head, I was like, wait, I think this is plenty of questions. So I am just going to go ahead and start. Hopefully some people join us here in a minute, because my time is very limited because I have 3 boys downstairs reading, and I have 1 baby sleeping, and Lord only knows when he will wake up. So we're going to try to tackle this as quickly as possible. If you are here, say hi. I see several people are watching, but not have any comments yet, so I don't know who it is. So a lot of my questions were about books, a few about biblical womanhood, parenting type things, and then a couple more fun things, like just kind of whatever questions, which is good. I wanted a good mixture of those. So my first question was, what is the best book to teach your kids about God? Hey, Katie. So, hey, Wendy. I said, of course, aside from the Bible. I'm going to cheat a little bit. Hey, Jamie. Hey, Abby. I do not use a specific book that I can think of to teach my kids about God, because God's word is the best way to know about God. But I do think that catechisms are one of the best tools that we have used to really dig into who God is. This is one of them we've used before, the Young Baptist Catechism. Westminster's a good one. There's several different ones. We're using the Westminster Shorter right now. And it's just a good way to use God's word to teach our kids, if that makes sense. As far as curriculum goes, I really like Apologia's Who is God series. As far as kind of like that allegory type style, I love R.C. Sproul's books. The Prince's Poison Cup, I think, is one of them. And then, what's that other one that my husband loves? The Barber Who Wanted to Pray, I think is what it's called. And so those are good, kind of just like stories that also teach truths about God. But I don't have a specific like book for parents to teach their children to, who God is. I have gotten several questions on spanking and discipline. I feel like that's one that's like a tricky one to navigate, but I did do a video about that. I think it was last week, about what we use for discipline. Hey, Megan. And so check out that video. I will say a little blurb about spanking. I think it is okay for a time and a season and specific circumstances. I'll leave that there. I think it's something that you have to decide as the parent, what you think about that, but I think the Bible allows it. I'll just leave that there. As far as discipline, I think there are, different seasons in parenting and how we discipline. And I'll get more on that later. I have another question about discipline I'll answer in a minute. I had someone ask, how do I set boundaries with my kids who like to push me? I have a couple strong-willed kids, one in specific who literally has pushed me to my wit's end a time or two. And I'm just trusting that the Lord will use that stubbornness for his glory one day. I really, really hope so. But my biggest advice, I won't say I'm on the other side of this, but my biggest advice, being further down the road than we were, is you have to be just as stubborn as they are. You have to say, your heart and your well-being are more important to me than, giving up, than this fight. So I'm willing to put up this fight. I'm willing to stand my ground and not back down, even though this is hard and I would really rather just give in. Now there are times when the battle's not worth it, but a lot of times I think what you're getting at is those kids who just really like to see if your no means no, and you have to let them know my no means no, my yes means yes, to keep your authority in check with them. And reinforce, bring your husband in if need be. If they're walking all over you, bring your husband in and let them talk to him about how you should treat their mother. Let's see. What is your favorite book from 2022? My favorite nonfiction, just kind of fun, I won't say fun, it was kind of a darker story, but kind of just a novel, regular reading book, was probably Before We Were Yours. I cannot remember who wrote it, but it's a story about orphans and kind of just their story of how they get adopted out, where they go, what they do. It's really sad, but it's also kind of a good heartwarming story at the end. As far as non-fiction, I think Broken Bread was a really good one by Tilly Dillahay. It is talking all about our relationship with food as Christians. If you are someone who has ever struggled with that, whether through eating disorders or overeating or weight issues or whatever, it is a really good take on how to think of food and dieting and just everything revolving around food, how to think about that through a Christian's perspective, through a biblical worldview. And it was super, super helpful. As far as, I got asked, what is your favorite Bible study for adults? I'm just going to show you the two that we've used in church the most recently with our women's Bible study, because they have been my favorite for sure. And these two are similar, but I like one a little more than the other. One of them is the Flourish Bible Study by Lydia Brownbeck. Jamie says, I've read Tilly's book on envy, but not Broken Bread. We'll look it up. Yeah, so I want to read some more of Tilly's books. I think she's a pretty well-spoken author. I really like her stuff. So this one was pretty good. This is the one we did most recently. The one that I loved even more, it's got like stuff all over it, so don't mind it, but is Joy of Living Bible Studies. And this one is on the book of James. But they're both very similar in the fact that they like go through verse by verse. It's not, topical. It's definitely like digging into the word. I felt like this one was a little more like plain meat and potatoes. It's not, as you can see, it's not as pretty and fluffy and whatever. This is not fluff. Don't hear that. But it's a little more like not black and white. And I kind of am a black and white, like let's lay it out, let's hash it out type person. And so I prefer this one, but they are both really, really good. Hey, Jill. Let's see. And if you guys have any other questions, go ahead and throw them up there and I will try to answer those kind of in between these. Let's see. Then another discipline question was, how do you use self-discipline and discipline for your children? So again, I have that video on disciplining children that you can check out. But also, when it comes to self-discipline, I have to use a lot of timers. Megan says she really likes Lydia Brownbeck's study on Proverbs. Yeah, I haven't done her Proverbs one, but the 1st and 2nd Peter was really good. So for self-discipline, I have to use timers. I have to, if I know that I need to do something, and I put it in my schedule for the day, and I set a timer saying, at this time, you're going to do this. Hey, Jill, again, I think she logged in a different account. And so I will set timers for myself. I will, I like to, good grief, my mind's just blank. Oh, for kids, I like there to be real consequences. And for myself, I like to set up, I have to play kind of like mind games with myself if I need to, best book on biblical womanhood. Okay, let me get back to that. If I need to meet certain goals, then I have, I set real tangible, if you get this, then this. If you do this, then this. I do it with myself, I do it with my kids. And not saying that I bribe them all the time, although I'm not above bribery sometimes, but I let there be like a real tangible, this is what happens when this gets done. But it helps me as well as the kids. And as far as littles go, one thing that I've really found is giving them choices, saying, I realize that you wanted to play video games, but we're not doing that right now. Right now, you can either go play Legos or you can go outside and play, and make it seem like they still have a choice. This is for like that 5 and under group. They have a choice, So you're not just demanding that they do a specific thing, but you're still kind of directing their choices. I also, practice with myself and with my kids makes progress when it comes to discipline. Like, just continue practicing those things you want to see, and eventually you'll get there. Maybe not there, but you'll get better. I had a question about, I was going to go back to Wendy's question. What is the best book you've ever read on biblical womanhood? That is by far, I say by far, I love Let Me Be a Woman by Elizabeth Elliot. If you know me at all, you know I've talked about that book 100 million times. It was just very, very eye-opening to me, and it may have just been the time in my life that book entered in, and it was like the first book that I had read on such things, and I was just like, whoa, like, what? I also love Feminine Appeal. Both of those just really opened my eyes as to what living as a woman for Christ really means. Let's see. Sadie says, just found your channel and watching all the other homeschool mamas I watch post. Feel like I'm in some exclusive meeting. You are not an exclusive meeting. You are welcome here. I'm a baby homeschooler in my second year, here to soak it all up. I am so happy for you. That is so awesome. I'm so glad that you're here, and all these ladies in the comments so far have lots of information for you. So soak it all up. Let's see. I had a question about hosting. I loved this question. Someone was wanting to work on their hosting, inviting people over and all of this stuff. And she wanted to know, it's kind of tiring, which I agree it is. As an introvert, it's very tiring. But she said, how do you handle the foods, the kids, the preparing? It is tiring, but it's a good tiring. I feel like tiring for no reason is one thing, but tiring when you know it's a good work is a totally different thing. And one thing that I've learned is just have open hands. Just say, here's what I have, and Lord, use it. And so whether that be like tangibly, this is how much food I have, God, use it, or whether that be, this is the energy I have, this is what I want to do, God, bless it. And, I had Katie, she's in the comments over here. I had her and her family over a couple weeks ago, and I was, starting to get panicked, like, okay, is everyone going to be comfortable sleeping? Do we have enough room? Do we have enough food? Is everyone going to be okay? And I eventually just had to say, okay, God, this is what I want to do. This is what I have. I need you to bless it. And you can ask her, but I think it went okay. I tried to be a gracious host. As far as those real tangible things that you can do, yes, pick up, yes, whatever, but just know that let enough be enough. Your house, when your guests leave, is not going to be in perfect condition. So don't set a precedent of it having to be in the perfect condition before they even get there, because it's not going to stay that way. And I know that's easier said than done. Also, have a few simple meals in your mind that you can feed a crowd with. For me, you can ask Katie, that was pizza and taco bar. Like, that's what we always do. I have a couple other things up my sleeve, but taco bar, you do the meat, you do the toppings, you just let everyone customize it to however they want to do it. And pizza is kind of the same way. Pizza and salad goes a long way. And so I just have a couple things up my sleeve. Soup nights are really good for that. Put on a couple crock pots, a couple different soups, and everyone can have their choice. Oh, let's see. Wendy's coming over. That would be great. Wendy, come on over. Abby says, I watch a ton too. I'm starting my first year homeschooling this year. That's awesome, Abby. Welcome. It's so much fun. I think you'll love it. Katie has some good suggestions down there for group meals too. And also this person asked, what do I do with my kids during hosting? If there's other kids coming over, let them entertain each other. Let them be friends. Let them hang out. That's what a basement is for. If you don't have a basement, use your backyard, use something. But just let them hang out, let them interact. If you're inviting people over that don't have kids, I know it can seem overwhelming. Like, I have an aunt and uncle who have never had children, and when they come over, I'm like, okay, everyone on your best behavior. But it's like, people know that kids are kids. I don't think, just parent like normal, and I don't think that anyone thinks any less of us for having kids. And they realize that they're coming into your home. It's not their home, it's yours. So don't worry about kids as much. And involve the kids. Let them help you serve. Let them help you clean the house and all the different things. I have a question on how do you stay disciplined in your health? this is another thing that I think there are seasons for. There are times when health has been real close to top priority for me. There have been times when it's been not so high. I think we always need to be mindful of it, and in as much as we don't need to be lazy slobs or gluttons or whatever. Okay. But we don't all always have to work out 60 minutes every day. The Bible doesn't say that. I think it just depends on what season you're in. And there's seasons when I've made a priority to work out 30 minutes every day. Right now, it's kind of a priority to me. At least 5 days a week, I do a workout. And I'm watching what I eat. But as far as how do I stay disciplined, well, it depends what season I'm in. When I had a brand new newborn, I wasn't disciplined. I ate when I could and what I could, and like I wasn't disciplined. But I've also found when I'm trying to get more disciplined, when I know, hey, things are kind of on the downhill, I need to reel it back in a little bit, I instill little habits one at a time and make them be something that is doable. And if you think, oh, I need to drink more water. Well, don't be like, I have to drink 2 gallons of water every day. That's a little ridiculous. Up it to say, I'm going to have 6 glasses of water a day, or I'm going to have a glass of water before I have coffee every day. If you're wanting to move more, say I'm going to go on a 10-minute walk every day, or every third day, or whatever. Just make small, tangible goals and then increase it as you can. Because ultimately, as a busy mom, as a busy wife, we can't be perfect in everything. And if you just try to take it all in right away and do everything and drink all the water and do all the exercise, you're going to get burnt out and be right back where you started. So just make small steps. Actually, Jill's the one who encouraged me in that when I was like freaking out the other day, because I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to work out and do all this at the same time. And she was like, just small steps. And I'm like, okay, you're right. Then I got a question about home management. How do you keep everything clean, get things going, meal plan, all that. I am kind of tweaking this a little bit right now, so I'll maybe make a video of this when I kind of have a new system going. Right now, it's kind of a combination of Fly Lady and Clean Mama. I'm not sold on any system whatsoever. But we have kind of one day a week is a different focus. And so we do our typical, here's our morning chores, here's our afternoon chores. We always do the dishes. We always take out trash. We always do a load of laundry. We always wipe down the counters, all those just basic things. And then one day a week is a different focus. So Mondays is our laundry day. We don't just do one load of laundry. We do a lot and we put it away. Tuesdays we work on the kitchen. Wednesdays we work on bathrooms, and so on and so forth. And so that way each day of the week is designated to a different area of the house so that we're touching everything, but we're not bogged down and overwhelmed. As far as food, I meal plan Sunday nights. I meal plan for the week, and then I put in my grocery order that night and pick it up on Monday. And I'm going to try to start again once I tweak this to a better system. I might share it with you if it works. There's more things that I'm seeing that I should be getting at Costco as far as cost is concerned. My husband saw the price of meat there the other day and he's like, why aren't we getting our meat here? So I'm going to kind of start tweaking that to go once a month, do a Costco run, and then weekly do a regular grocery store run. But yeah, I have to meal plan or else I don't even know what's happening in my life. I don't know. Jill says closing those rings, girl. Yes, we're closing our rings on our watches. But Jill's one of those people, I love her to death, but she like doesn't know what she's having for dinner until she's making it. And I can't do that. Like my brain is like, I have to know the day before what I'm making the next day or else we're eating out, because I can't do it on the fly like that. And then kind of just generally, how do I get it all done? I said I use timers, and the reason why I do that is because I'm a girl, I like to start and complete things. I don't like doing things halfway and stopping, but that's not feasible in a life with 4 little kids and homeschooling and commitments outside of the home. Yes, Megan's with me. She gets lost without meal planning. Jamie says tacos every Tuesday. Yes, I know people, I think Wendy's one of them. It's like breakfast is always one day a week. And then like tacos is always one day, whatever. And hey, it works. What was I talking about? Oh, timers. And so it's not feasible to do everything in completion. Like it's just not. And so what I have to do is I set a timer and I say, okay, for 15 minutes, I'm going to work on folding laundry. I may not get the entire load folded and put away, but for 15 minutes, I'm dedicating time to laundry. Because in the long run, I see that it is better to touch things every day for 10 minutes, touch all the areas, than it is to wait until I have a big chunk of time to tackle the task. That's how you get mount laundry going in your living room, is you're like, oh, I don't have time for that now. I don't have time for that. Well, you have 5 minutes, you have 10 minutes. You can touch it for a little bit and then touch it for a little bit the next day. And so I've had to start doing that. Otherwise, if I just wait until I have a ton of time, things will just never happen. And that's how you end up with mountains of laundry, mountains of dishes, and all the things. One more fun question I got was, what is you and your husband's favorite thing to do together when you're alone? We love board games. I kind of joked, I made a post, I don't know if it was on Instagram or Facebook or something, about, here's what date night looks like now. And it was me and him and my baby, and we were playing Mastermind. And I joked about it, but really, like, aside from the baby being there, that's kind of how we do date nights. We love playing board games. We always have. It's a cheap and fun way to interact. We love old school video games. I mean, he loves the newer ones too. I don't so much, but we'll play like old school Mario or Tetris or Dr. Mario or something like that. And then, of course, we love to go out to dinner. We love sushi. We have a favorite steak place, and we love hiking. But that's something we usually now do with our kids. But even before we had kids, we would go hiking. We love hanging out outside. Let's see. Clothes. Is there a favorite place you like to shop, and what are your favorite shoe brands? As far as shopping for myself, these girls are going to laugh at me. I'm not a huge shopper, but a lot of these girls saw that yesterday one of my closet racks broke, and I had to pull all the clothes out of my closet and put them on my bed, and it looked like I had a huge amount of clothes, which I did. But I don't wear most of them. So as far as what I actually wear, my favorite is a Gap. I love, it's just kind of like, they have a lot of like classic but high quality things. Old Navy, of course, is related to Gap, and I like their stuff too. It's just not as high quality. So if I'm getting something that I know I'm not going to wear forever, then I'll do Old Navy, or even Target. I like some of their stuff. If it's something, more trendy that I know is going to go out pretty soon. But if it's something that I'm looking for like a staple piece, I really like Gap. As far as my favorite shoes, athletically, Megan, Ryan's closet says otherwise. But you have to know, some of those clothes in my closet have been in there since 2010 or 12. So I'm really not a huge shopper. I just don't get rid of things. I don't know why. Anyway, so for shoes, athletically, I love Nike. I've always loved Nike. They just fit really well. I have long and narrow feet, and Nikes tend to do really well on my feet. Megan says Chacos. Yes. In the summer, I am almost always in my Chacos. Let's see. And I also am a Converse girl. Converse or Vans, like those sneaker type shoes. I love stuff like that. Let's see. Favorite read aloud ever. I had to think on this one. I don't know. Katie wants to see 2010 fashion show. Well, you saw I put all those things in garbage bags. I got rid of 2 giant bags of clothes, guys. Let's see. What was I even talking about? Oh, favorite read aloud ever. I had to think that through really hard because I love a lot of read alouds. But I would have to say Matilda by Roald Dahl. Because it is nostalgia for me. That was my favorite book when I was in elementary school. I read it until the cover literally fell off. And this is the copy that I still read to my kids now, is the cover missing one. And it's just nostalgia. It's a good story. It's sweet. And I don't know. I love it. Let's see. Although I will have to say Charlie, not Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, but the glass elevator one. That whole story wasn't great, but the first third of that story, I read it aloud and my husband was there and we laughed until we couldn't breathe and we were crying because there was like a guy with a Russian accent and we were doing the voices. I don't know. Needless to say, I like Roald Dahl. Must read mom book. Okay, so anything Rachel Jankovic, I was going to find it, but it's in the bottom of the stack. Anything by her is good. Anything Paul David Tripp, good. If I had to pick one book though that really changed me as far as motherhood goes. I'm going to cheat and say two. Two books that really changed me as far as motherhood goes is, oh my gosh, I lost it. Oh, Gloria Furman's Missional Motherhood. And I had to write down the tags. I never remember it. It's the everyday ministry of motherhood and the grand plan of God. And that just really was like, oh, wow, I have a purpose here. Like, wow, this is, just seeing how God uses motherhood. Jamie, go ahead and cheat. Yes, I have to cheat. I love that book. And I want to read it again, actually. Thinking back on it, I love that book. But also, this one came out kind of after I started my missional motherhood journey, and Mama on Mission, I think, may have been inspired by that name. I'm just not putting two and two together. But Risen Motherhood is a super, super good one. The book has not been around that long, but I loved their podcast before I read the book. So if you haven't read that book, check it out, Risen Motherhood. It's pretty good. But Gloria Furman, really good. And she has another book, Treasuring Christ When Your Hands Are Full, I think, and it's another good one. Okay, so I gave you three. I'm sorry. Let's see. Favorite books for kids. She said it could be classics or newer books or whatever. Hold on, let me check my comments real quick. Missional Motherhood is on your list. Yeah, good. Jill has long, narrow feet too. I don't think they're as long as mine, Jill. I've seen your feet. I think my feet are bigger. So as far as like classic books, I love Little House on the Prairie books, which is funny because I hated them when I was a kid, but I like them now. And my kids enjoy them too, even though they're boys. They think they're pretty cool. Like I said, Roald Dahl, pretty much all of his books are so, so good. They're funny, but like still have a good meaning. They're not just like total like fluff and total like nonsense. My kids really like nonsense books, and those really annoy me. So I say down with comics, down with, what's the cat one? The comic kid, whatever. Jamie knows what I'm talking about. Her kids love those books. I can't stand all of that. Captain Underpants, all that. So we keep those to a minimum. But I think Roald Dahl is like funny, but yet like a real story. Boxcar Children is always a good one. I love it because as far as the older ones, I know there's newer ones that have been released, but as far as the older series, I can literally just say pick one and my kids can read it, and you don't have to like know what's going on, and I know it's going to be clean. I also love, of course, the Narnia series. I love Tolkien. My boys are just now getting that age where I can start handing them that. And as far as newer ones, I am not finished with either of these series, but I will plug them because I'm about halfway through both series. Wing Feather Saga and Green Emperor are both so, so good. We're making such good headway on those. And then all this sunlight reading started happening. Dog Man and Cat Kid. There we go. Yeah, Jamie knows what I'm talking about. I hate those books, but my kids love them. And so both of those are really, really good, even though I haven't read the whole series. And then also here are two that my son has read the fastest of any series, but I will add a caveat. One of them, we had to stop him because they were starting to go in a direction we did not approve of as far as sexuality and stuff, and that is Wings of Fire. So I think up until book 10, it's good. I think that's when we made him stop. I can't really remember. Up until book 10, it's good. Those early ones, great. After that, there's like gay characters and it goes real weird. So, but he blazed through those. Most recently, for his birthday, he got all of the Percy Jackson books. He's read the entire Percy Jackson series and is now on the second series of books that are like this fat, and he's 2 books in and is begging me to get him the third one. And so those are really good, but my husband did let me know that Percy Jackson also does the same thing in future series. So these 2 series are okay. The Lightning Thief and all that series, and then the one that comes after it are good. And then he said after that they go downhill. So we're only going to do 2 of those, I guess. But my son has blazed through those. How do you manage homeschool on the back end, like logging, filing, all of that? So for logging in Missouri, we have to log hours, not days, which kind of stinks. But every day as we finish a subject, I just write down approximately how long it took. And then I have a file on my computer, like a spreadsheet on my computer that I just enter in the numbers. Now, I used to be really good about doing this every Sunday night. I would just log the week's hours, just type them in there. They add themselves. It's great. I fell way behind last year. And so I just now caught up all of last year's, and now I am moving on to this year's. So how I'm doing that is every Tuesday night, Mama leaves, boys stay here. I go to a coffee shop or to Panera or something, bring my laptop, and I just spend half the time doing that. Spend half the time working on YouTube stuff, and we're getting caught up. But if you would just do it every Sunday night like I used to, it doesn't take any time at all. As far as filing and saving papers and stuff, we have a turn-in box. Everything goes in there. Each kid has their own shelf in the turn-in box. And then quarterly, I just go through and I pull what I think we need to keep, and I put it in a 3-ring binder and then toss the rest. Let's see. Someone asked, what is one of the biggest fears you've overcome? Let's see. I would say this: public speaking, being in front of people, having lots of friends, anything social was my biggest fear for a long time. You may not know it now, but if you would have met me 4 or 5 years ago, I could teach preschool like nobody's business. Anything else where I had to get up in front of people, I would like visibly shake. I would race through my words. I would be running sweat down my face. I would stutter. I would mumble. I would just like I just couldn't handle it. And now I won't say that I'm like eager to get up in front of hundreds of people or anything, but this is definitely different. Sadie says, fellow Missouri mama. Oh, awesome. That's so cool, Sadie. I need to catch up on the comments real quick. Treasuring Christ, a lot of people love that. And Matilda. Boxcar Children, yes, that's all good stuff. Percy Jackson, yes. Okay. So, my second biggest fear, this is a little known fact. I think only Jamie may know this one. Maybe. I overcame the fear of driving. As a full-blown adult with children, I did not have a license because driving terrified me. It was an overwhelming fear. I don't know why. I had never been in a car accident. I had never had anything traumatic happen. But driving would send me in a panic attack every time I drove. From the time I was, 14 and driving with my parents in the car up until I got my license as an adult, I would just go in a full-blown panic and like couldn't breathe, like major panic attack. And so the Lord brought me through that. Praise the Lord. And so that was a huge relief. Abby says she doesn't have a license either. I feel you, girl. I feel you. I don't know if it's the same thing for you, but it was a huge relief once the Lord helped me overcome that fear. So that was really, really a big jump for me. Let's see. Someone asked, where is God currently growing me? He is growing me in my kindness and patience toward others. I swear my face, as most of you know, my face shows that I don't like anyone. That's not the truth. I do like a lot of people, but I have very short patience for people who I feel like should know better. People who are Christians, people who are adults and don't act like adult Christians. I get very, very impatient with them. I get very, and not that I confront them and cause drama. I just am very judgy, and I'm very critical, and I just think not nice thoughts about people who I think should know better. And that's not right. Like, the Lord doesn't do that to me, because there's a lot of times that I know better and I still do stupid things. And the Lord doesn't talk like that to me or think about me like that, so I shouldn't either. And so I'm trying to grow in that. I'm trying to grow in joy, like joyfully disciplining my kids, joyfully cleaning my house, joyfully doing the work set before me. I feel like I've been on that journey for a couple years now, but I'm still working on it. And then someone asked, how do I submit to my husband when I feel alone in my marriage? This is a hard one. First of all, I would ask, have you talked these things through with your husband? Have you said, hey, here's my concerns? Yeah, Jamie says she ranks real low on mercy. Yes, me too. Have you talked to your husband about how you're feeling? Have you said, hey, I'm feeling really alone. I'm feeling this, I'm feeling that. And not in a, argumentative way, but in a loving, kind, let's sit down and chat way. I mean, I would assume you have, but if not, that's where I would start. Obviously, prayer. But not just prayer for him, that the Lord would change his heart, but the Lord would soften your heart and help you to see maybe where you have something wrong, or you've understood something wrong, or you just have the wrong idea about something. And then I would just say, after you've expressed yourself, expressed your concerns to both the Lord and to your husband, if he still is adamant about something that, you have to submit on, just do it and pray as you're doing it. Do it even if you don't like it. Now, obviously, if it's something that breaks a law of God, I think we know that here, that there's certain times when submission to our husband is not okay. But as long as it is not, going against God's word, I think we just have to submit and trust that God will work things out. There's been times when I've had to submit to my husband when I have told him, I really don't think that this is, and he's like, well, I do. And I'm like, okay. And so I would submit to him. And sometimes my husband was right, and sometimes I was right. And we just had to learn the hard way, and God sustained us, and God sanctified us, and it worked out great. So last question, this was a silly one too. Is there any song, movie, or book that you simply cannot stand? There are too many songs to possibly list that I literally cannot stand. Basically all of mainstream Christian radio. And I know I sound really pious when I say that, but the whole Jesus is my boyfriend type music, like where it sounds just like pop music on any other station, but it's like they're just talking about the Lord instead of their boyfriend, and I'm just like, ugh, I hate that stuff. I also hate most like mainstream music, like Lizzo, Taylor Swift. I know I'm gonna get a lot of flack for that. Just a lot of mainstream stuff. I don't like any of it. I don't like a lot of, I don't like any music that is trendy and popular, basically. As far as a book, I can't think of any specific book. I know there are some. I just can't think of any off the top of my head of like a specific book that I hate. But I will say the book Grapes of Wrath, like, it makes me do this because I remember reading it in high school and thinking, this is never going to end. I hate this. I might appreciate it more as an adult, but it just makes me cringe thinking about it. Also, I will say, this is kind of a cringy thing anyway, but The Notebook. Okay, The Notebook movie is actually pretty good. It's mushy, it's gushy, it's fluffy, it's fake. But it's a good, like, if you need a good little tearjerker romance movie, modern, it's pretty good. I watched the movie, then I went and read the book. And typically the book is so much better. The Notebook, book version, Nicholas Sparks, it was like, what? Where's this part? And where's this part? And where's this part? It fell flat for me. But also Atlas Shrugged. I liked the story of Atlas Shrugged, but I'm like, you took a book this long that could have been like this long. Like, why did we stretch it out that much? So those are the only books that came to mind, but I'm sure there's others that I absolutely hated. And as far as a movie, I will probably catch a lot of flack from this, but I despise Mary Poppins. Hate that movie with every fiber of my being. I hope to never see it again in my life. I like musicals too, but that one, it's the most annoying thing I've ever seen. And Fantasia. Oof. Fantasia gave me actual nightmares for years. So anyway, I think I'm going to leave it here. I don't see any other questions. Jill says joyful parenting. Yes. What's her name? Abby was talking about not having a license. Yeah. So I definitely enjoyed this. I think I've been going for way too long, way longer than I thought I would. But I thank you guys for joining me. If you have any other questions that we didn't get to, leave them down. Jill loves mainstream Christian music. I know you do, Jill, but I still love you. Leave them down in the comments below, and I will answer them in the comments. And I thank you so much for watching. I will talk to you guys next time. I will have a new video. I think it's a day in the life coming out on Friday, and I will see you then. Thanks for watching. Bye.